You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. The pressure continues on Linda Fairstein. She was, of course, the woman who headed up the sex crimes division of the Manhattan DA's office that prosecuted the Central Park 5. She, of course, has lost her book publishing deal. Her agent has dropped her. She also has resigned from various boards. Elizabeth Lederer, the woman who also prosecuted the case, she is not coming back as a law professor at Columbia University, a law lecturer, and she also is not, she's no longer with the District Attorney's office. But that's not enough. Protesters yesterday took to the streets saying it's time for Cyrus Vance, the Manhattan DA, to reopen every single case of Linda Fairstein to see whether or not she was fair to all those who were prosecuted. Again, the Netflix show, When They See Us, has really put lots of attention on this particular issue. And so we have some of the video from yesterday's rally. Love to see it right now, folks. But right now we want to talk to Tamika Mallory. She's the co-president of the Women's March. Tamika, glad to have you back at Roland Martin Unfiltered. The pressure is staying on the folks there in New York. Why is this so important?
Well, for many reasons, and one of the things I wanted to correct is that Elizabeth Lederer, the woman who actually sat in the prosecutor's chair for the trial, she does still work within the Manhattan DA's office now. Okay. So she is still an employee of this city. And we know what happened in the Central Park 5 case. I think what's important, the exonerated 5, is they've now their title, their name has been changed. I think what's important for us to note is that a movie did not give us any new information. So we're not learning anything new from Ava's film. While it is amazing and it gives people the opportunity to feel and see what these young men went through and how corrupt the system was and continues to be. We knew this information. Ken Burns has a documentary that we watched many years ago with the same information. And many of us, people like myself, and some of the activists were literally involved. My parents were protesters and they were engaged, in standing up for the exonerated 5 at the time that all of this was happening. And again, no new information. What we want today, because to relitigate the exonerated 5 case, we know that that's not going to happen. That case is closed. But what we want to be able to see at this time is whether or not there are other victims, because we believe that if you get away with something one time, you will do it again. And as they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. And we believe that there are more people who've experienced the same type of treatment from this particular prosecutor, Elizabeth Fairstein, and her team. And so that's what we're asking for now. And the district attorney in New York, Cyrus Vance, at this point has said that he will not open the cases.
But what the Netflix series has done, though, first and foremost, it has introduced this case to a whole new generation who had no clue. You mentioned the Ken Burns documentary that came out years ago. Secondly, what it also has done is Netflix is also seen worldwide. So for a lot of people who never even saw the Ken Burns documentary on PBS, there are people who have been talking about this from all across the world. And so that, to me, I think is also, and when the Ken Burns documentary came out, social media wasn't what it is today. Within 48 hours of that series dropping on May 31st, Fairstein, who had been on social media for a number of years, canceled all of her social media. She was on the run. People then began to target her publisher, her agent, and so it did give a renewed focus on this particular this egregious case.
And a very necessary energy, for fighting against prosecutorial misconduct and, really trying to find ways to have oversight for DAs and conviction review boards. All of that is happening. And, Ava said something that I thought was so powerful, which is that Everyone involved in this case needs to be held accountable. But to lay it all on one woman is not enough, because she is not the only actor here. Within the first 2 months of Ken Thompson, who is the Brooklyn DA, he has passed away now.
Right.
He passed away with cancer at 50 years old. But when he became the Brooklyn DA, within the first 2 months, he exonerated over 20 people. I believe the number is 23. And one of the things that he found is that the trend was in all the cases was that one officer was involved. So this one officer had touched all the cases where he was able to exonerate innocent people. And even in this particular, in the Manhattan DA's office, there is a case where I've been telling people to go and Google People versus Jovanovic. That's Javanoc. I may have missed the letter, but Jovanovic. So Janavonic. People should go and research that case. It is another example of the type of dirty work that went on under this woman's her leadership as the sex crimes unit prosecutor. There is another case out there where this gentleman had hit the appellate court overturned his conviction because it seems that text messages were kept out of the evidence when they were presenting the case, when the prosecution was presenting the case. And those text messages clearly show that there was consensual sex between this man and woman who were both students at Barnard College. And again, an appellate court had to overturn the conviction. And he spent 20 months in jail. He was attacked. It seems that he was stabbed or sliced across his neck. I mean, we're talking about ruining people's lives and people's families. And we believe that the district attorney in New York, he cannot just tell us that he won't look into these cases, but then claim to be a progressive leader and, walking around, going to our churches and other places, but unwilling to check into whether or not our young men and women have been sent to prison under wrongful convictions.
I want to play this for you. April Ryan asked Donald Trump today, before he went to Orlando, about whether or not he would apologize to the Central Park Five, the exonerated five. This is that exchange.
April. Mr. President, will you apologize to Central Park Five? They've been exonerated. There have been videos and movies shown about the case, and you came out with a full-page ad saying that they should die. They face the death penalty.
Why do you bring that question up now? It's an interesting time to bring it up. You have people on both sides of that. They admitted their guilt. If you look at Linda Fairstein and if you look at some of the prosecutors, they think that the city should never have settled that case. So we'll leave it at that. April.
Mr. President, will you apologize to Central Park Five?
And the arrogance there of Donald Trump. One saying, why would you bring it up? Well, the man who watches more damn television than anybody who's been president should clearly know what the hell is going on.
Right.
But again, it's arrogant people like him. It's also remind people Mike Bloomberg did not want to settle this case.
Absolutely.
Ray Kelly did not want to settle this case. And the city of New York, we had Raymond Santana on this show, the city of New York to this day refuses to release the depositions that led to the $41 million settlement with them. Your thoughts on that?
First of all, Donald Trump is lying. The question has been raised many times. While he was running for president, the question about the Central Park Five was raised, and there was a lot of press, specifically around Youssef and some of the other folks, some of the other five who were more vocal. There was a lot of press on them and a lot of questions asked of how they felt. And, and they were able to tell their story. So that's a lie. But, he's the both sides president. He is the person who wants to be on the sides of the cops and the robbers. And in this particular situation, the police officers, the judges, the district attorney, these people knew exactly what they were doing. And it does not surprise me at all, because at the time, Donald Trump was a major figure in New York. And in fact, we believe that the ads that he purchased and the way in which he criminalized these young men and helped to convict them before they even went to court. That he was a big part of that. That his influence in this city was a big part of it. So it doesn't make me feel confused or, surprise me at all that he would say what he has said. But what we know is that these young men were framed. I heard that the survivor in this particular case, the Central Park 5 jogger, I read a statement from her saying that she wants the depositions and all of the files to be released to be able to prove that the police officers and the law enforcement in this particular situation did not commit any crimes. She believes that, but at the same time, she goes on to say that she's been wanting it to be out there for a long time to put her heart and mind at rest. So, there's two things going on there, and I appreciate and understand that she wants to stand by those who she feels stood by her.
Right.
That law enforcement at that time stood by her. They promised her that they would find the people who did this to her, or who assaulted her and left her for dead. But they have found that person. The person came forward, which is Mr. Reyes, who told his truth, and the only DNA evidence at the scene of that incident belongs to him. None of the 5 men who went to jail, or the 5 young boys who are now men, went to jail for this crime. So we just want to open the books. I think it's a simple request, and it should be something that this city would get behind immediately to be able to prove their innocence and that they are not complicit in locking up young men and women of color.
Tamika Mallory, always a pleasure. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Roland.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, they're back. MarijuanaStock.org is another great investment opportunity. Now, if you were lucky enough to invest in their last crowdfunding campaign, they raised a bunch of money in just a few months investing in legal marijuana farms. Those initial investors now own shares of a publicly traded company. Folks, now again, a lot of y'all missed it, but now you have a second chance. They have a new investment opportunity that is as good, if not even better, than the last. I'm talking about industrial hemp CBD. Now, for those who don't know, the hemp plant is the cousin to marijuana with a much higher concentration of CBD, which means hemp CBD gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Now, until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, the 2018 Farm Bill changed all of that, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S. and creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. They need land to grow all the plants, which makes for an incredible investment opportunity. And that's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is real simple. They buy the land that supports the hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to licensed, high-paying tenants. That's right. They are hemp CBD landlords. And you can get in on the action. You can invest in this crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200 up to $10,000. Folks, if you want to invest, go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org to get in the game. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.